31 questions in the chat.
Yeah, sure. We can't see the chat, but
Dr. Pritz and Dr. Knight, I really appreciate
Cameron Wolf will be first.
Dr. Pritz, Dr. Knight, this is Cameron Wolf with NFL Network. We really appreciate you spending some time with us and sharing some updates here. If possible, can you take us through the timeline from when DeMar arrived in your care to where we are now, as far as what you guys did with his recovery and where that progress in specific is?
Do that with the person who just posed the last question.
Did I come through clearly there?
No, can you try again?
Yes, apologies. First of all, appreciate you, Dr. Pritz and Dr. Knight, for your time and your care in this situation. This is Cameron Wolf with NFL Network. Just wanted to inquire if you could take us through the timeline from when DeMar came into your care and to where he is now, as far as what you guys have done to get him to this significant improvement stage.
Sure, and thanks for being here today. What I can tell you is that our team involved a significant number of the care team involved in helping with Mr. Hamlin on the field on Monday night. He was attended to by 4 of our emergency physicians serving in the various roles as the airway physician, the visiting team medical liaison, a neurotrauma consultant, as well as one of the team physicians for the Cincinnati Bengals. As everybody knows, Mr. Hamlin suffered a cardiac arrest on the field, and it was promptly recognized by the Buffalo Bills medical staff, and that allowed for a very immediate resuscitation on the field. He was promptly resuscitated. It did require CPR and defibrillation, and at which point he was transported to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, where he was met by Dr. Pritz and the trauma team, as well as our emergency medicine colleagues. He was managed and resuscitated and worked up in the emergency department, had some additional tests in the ED and in the hospital, and then has been managed in the surgical ICU, as Dr. Pritz said. It's been a long and difficult road for the last 3 days. He has been very sick and has made a fairly remarkable recovery and improvement, to the point, as Tim noted, he is now demonstrating that sign of good neurologic recovery, as well as overall clinical improvement, as has been previously reported, related to not just his vital signs, but a lot of his other individual organ recovery.
Doctor, this is Thad Brown from WROC Television in Rochester, New York. Again, like Cameron said, thank you very much for your time and all the work that you've done with this. Can you speak at all to the cause of what happened? What caused the cardiac arrest? And I think specifically, was it simply the actions that happened on the field, or was there something existing that made Mr. Hamlin, something that might be susceptible to this happening?
The answer to that is that workup is ongoing, and we do not have definitive answers as to the etiology of the arrest at this time, and that tests will continue to be ongoing as he continues to progress.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Dr. Knight and Dr. Pritz. This is Matt Beauvais with WKBW in Buffalo, New York. As everybody has also said, thank you for everything that you guys have done. I know you briefly mentioned it to Cameron's question about what the timeline was like, but can you guys go into a little bit more detail or explain how critical those first moments were on the field to ultimately get him to this point, and what the doctors and the medical staff and the Bills and Bengals were able to accomplish in that period?
Sure. I think it just speaks really to the immediate recognition that there was something significantly and seriously wrong by the Bills medical staff. Tim and I speak together. We cannot credit their team enough. They're often, unfortunately, there are injuries occasionally that happen on sports fields, be it football or others. But it is incredibly rare to have something be this serious that happens like that, and to be that quickly recognized. What they did was immediately marshal the emergency action plan, meaning the emergency medicine services. That prompted the airway physician, the emergency physician that was out on the field, to be at his bedside in less than a minute. He had a prompt recognition of loss of pulse, which gave him immediate bystander CPR, which, as all many of you know, rarely if ever happens. And so the fact that Mr. Hamlin had immediate bystander CPR in addition to prompt recognition of his arrhythmia to get defibrillated and then back to the return of circulation very quickly, that speaks to that timeline that you were asking about to get the return of spontaneous circulation with immediate bystander CPR that was performed well, all meeting the standard of what we would expect in that scenario is what has led us to be able to discuss these good outcomes today.
I will second that. You know, the Bills training staff who was with him immediately recognized that this was not a run-of-the-mill injury and that they had a significant event on their hands and immediately responded and got the emergency response team involved in his care. And really, this went as well as something like this could go under very challenging circumstances. And they did a fantastic job, which is why we're here today.
In understanding how complicated of a situation this ultimately is, would it be fair to say that if things would have taken a few extra minutes or maybe even a few extra seconds, there could have been a different outcome here?
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. All right. Thank you both for everything that you guys have done and for the time today.
And so a lot of people breathing a sigh of relief that the Buffalo Bills' Damar Hamlin, who suffered that big hit and cardiac arrest in the game the other day, is making substantial improvement. I want to bring in NBC's Maura Barrett from